Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Let's Do This Together podcast. I'm your host, Arnold Telegaarda, and this is the podcast where we talk about the journey of life through the good times, the bad times, and just all the times in between. But in today's episode, I want to talk about music and how important music is in a lot of people's lives. You know, music could be a source of entertainment, a source of fun, and it can also be a source of therapy to a lot of people and a source of identity. And we get into all of that with our special guest. And today's special guest is none other than my good friend, Joshua David Evans from Joshua D TV. He is a YouTuber, singer, performer, amongst many other things. And we talk about a lot of things in this episode. We talked about how music shaped us as individuals. And we also talked about how music bonded us in our friendship. And it was also really fun catching up with him. But before we get into all that, I want to read a review that one of you guys left. This one is from Alvin Nunez. And this person said, "Oh my God, Kathy gave so much on this episode. I super love this episode. Thank you." Well, thank you, Alvin. I appreciate it. And if you guys also want to leave a review, you can on iTunes. And if you like what you hear, don't be afraid to give me a 5-star rating because it really, really helps a lot. We are on Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, all at Let's Do This Together podcast. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Joshua David Evans. Hey.
Hey.
What is up, man? Oh my God, we're back again. Wow, your setup looks so professional. Are you at a studio right now? What's going on?
Are you messing with me?
Look at me. I have normal furniture. You have a blue backdrop on you.
This is set up in an undisclosed location. I can't reveal where I am.
Wow, so secretive.
The world cannot know. Arnold cannot know.
Okay, fair enough.
No, I'm in a safe place, and I rigged this up just for this.
Wow, thank you. Does that work as a green screen?
Your background looks professional, like you're in an office.
Oh, well, this is a green screen actually. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad it worked.
You can't touch the objects behind you.
No. See? It's all fake.
Yeah, this is a green screen that I colored blue.
Unnecessary work, man. That is very unnecessary, but kudos to you for doing that.
Hey, me, I'm the king of unnecessary work.
Man, you know what's crazy? The first time we met, Justin Bieber was still a little kid. And now today, at 9 p.m., he is releasing his 9th album. His 9th album. Where did the time go, dude? What a way to make us feel old, huh?
Great intro. You know, I feel like all the generations that came before us that we rolled our eyes at when they're like, once you get older, time just kind of goes by. Where did the years go?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
They're so right.
I know.
I think it's just because when you're older, for some reason, time flies. When you're young, you think an hour is never going to pass. You're in school, you're like, oh, when is this class over? I wish I could just graduate. But then when you're older, you're like, how did 2020 go by that fast? It was the worst year ever. It felt like it took forever. But when I look back at 2020, I'm like, that happened really fast.
It did. You know what's crazy? I remember my 6th grade teacher telling me this. And I remember this vividly. He said, from the time you were born to the time that we're at right now, it feels like forever. But after you graduate from 6th grade, it's going to go by like that. And here I am, sitting down as a 34-year-old man, just in a blink of an eye. I don't know where the time went, man, but he was right. He was absolutely right.
They were right, man. They were right. Oh, yeah, when we met, and that first video we ever did together, it was about like pop music, and Bieber and Timberlake. And Bieber at the time was still, I mean, he was a kid. I still look at him like a kid, even though I know he's not a kid.
Yeah, right. He's all married, grown man, but he's still a kid.
Right, but like when I think of the age, how old is he now? He's
25, I think.
25?
Yeah.
I might have been, I was like 20.
Yeah. I think you were 28.
So still, when I think of like 25-year-old me,
yeah,
I look at that, I'm like, you were a kid. You didn't know anything, man.
Seriously, man. Seriously.
But yeah, dude, when did we make that video?
Oh, wow. 2013, I think, or something like that.
I was just telling Pamela yesterday. She's like, how long have you been friends with Arnold? I'm like, oh gosh, when's the last time I did this in my head? Because I used to like, oh yeah, this 2000 blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I've known him longer than the Cat's Pajamas, so that had to be 8
Yeah.
years or
Sounds-
so, almost a decade.
Sounds about right, man.
Yeah.
I remember giving you a hard time for turning 30, and here I am in the 30s club. So I apologize.
You did give me a hard time. By
Yeah.
the way, this is not sponsored. Have you tried Dr. Pepper Zero Cherry?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper is my least favorite drink. And I know
You
that...
act like
What?
you've never told that to me before.
Have I said that?
Bro, I've always been like, Dr. Pepper, and you're like, I don't want to like hurt your feelings. I can't get with it, man. I can't get with the
Well,
Dr. Pepper.
if
gonna
it's-
taste like, and I'm like, whoa, what do you mean?
If it's in front of me, I will drink it. But it's I would never crave that. But, to each his own.
Each his own. Did you have your beverage?
Okay, so yesterday, right? I ordered this March 10th, Hart's birthday. It took a while, but it finally came in the mail. I got a 12-pack of The Rock's new energy drink called Zoa. I don't know if you've seen him promoting it on Instagram, but he did a very good job promoting it because I would never order an energy drink online and waited a week for it, but I did it. And listen, I'm pretty sure it's a placebo effect and I'm okay with that. But his pitch is like, it's the healthiest drink. It's going to make you super focused, all that good stuff. And I tried it yesterday. I tried it like at 4 p.m. yesterday. I'm like, wow, I feel really like I could do something really productive right now. I didn't, but I could. So it might be a placebo effect, but hey, whatever. It helps.
Hey, but technically, placebo effects, as long as it affects you.
Yeah, you're
no matter
right.
how it happened, you still did something, whether it was the trick of the mind or physically like juiced you up or
Yeah.
whatever. You still did it, or you still felt it. So I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if it's a placebo effect, is it still? It still works.
It still works. It still does its job.
Hey, you still bought it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, here I am spending my
Talk
money.
about influencer.
Right.
I bought it because he influenced me to buy it.
There you go, man. There you go.
I didn't know he had a beverage. Like I knew he had his tequila or whatever.
Yeah. I wasn't too excited about that, but the energy drink, I'm all for it. But listen, man, music, amongst many things, I feel is a big part of our friendship. We bond a lot over music. Heck, you said it yourself, man. First time we met, it was a Justin Timberlake video, but I'm going to give you my spiel first of how I kind of fell in love with music. So growing up in Indonesia, right, I only had, I think we only had 6 channels or so. It would be news, maybe Simpsons. But one time, I caught the Michael Jackson Black or White music video. And everything about that just screamed really cool to me because he had the cool long hair. He danced really well. And I don't know if you remember that music video, but he went around the world. And I think one of the parts of the world that he went to was Indonesia. So that was like cool points for me. But I just remember being hooked. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. And I was all into it. Never seen any of his previous stuff. That was my first, introduction to Michael Jackson. And at the age of 4, I would copy his moves. I would try to dance like him. But then down the road, I kind of got distracted. You know, music didn't really play a big part of my life because there was Power Rangers, there was Ninja Turtles. I got more fascinated with shows like that and toys and all that. So I didn't really care about music too much. But then, well, let me just say, I grew up as an only child. So at the age of 13, you can only take hanging out with your parents so much. So randomly, I bought the Will Smith Millennium album. Not the Big Willie
style.
Not Big Willie style. It was the next one after that. He had some good hits in there, but I just remember whenever I wanted to escape from my parents or just be in my own world, I would pop it in my CD player, and I would get lost in it, man. Like I knew every single word to a song in that album. The whole, I think it was like 15 tracks. I can recite it like a Bible. And I just remember, I think that's when I kind of really fell in love with music, because I started seeing the music video in my head before I actually saw the music video. And I would think about how I would perform it if this was me, how my body language would be if I was Will Smith and I would perform his songs. And I think that's where I kind of taught myself how to dance a little bit. I would go into my room at the age of 13, lock the door, blasted Will Smith, and pretended I was him and put on a whole concert for myself. And ever since then, that's when I got hooked with music, man.
Will Smith was kind of like your go-to, like Michael Jackson maybe opened the door.
Yeah.
Like, wait, there's this whole world out there that creates this type of entertainment. But then the one that you kind of landed on that from your childhood kind of is that Will Smith era after Big Willie style.
Yeah.
That whole thing. It's just crazy to me how music is so universal, man.
Yeah.
The story you described is identical to me, except, I wasn't in Indonesia. But it was the same thing of, I was introduced to Michael Jackson at a young age, and I would do the same thing. I would sneak away and shut the door in my childhood home. Mm-hmm. And I would put on concerts for myself. I would pretend there were people out. I had a certain jacket, like a members only, like Kmart jacket.
Members only is the ish.
At a certain point, he like flips it.
Yep.
Pops it, and then and then I was like, I'll sling the jacket at this. I had it all mapped out, and I would do this if I had a bad day in elementary school, or if I got in an argument with my father. I'd be like, I'm going to the back room. No one bothers me. Your body's mine. Little like prepubescent Josh, angsty, but doing exactly what you were doing. It's universal, man. Music and entertainment is an escape, and it allows us to connect and find things within ourselves that maybe we are afraid of, or things that we didn't know existed. Like, it opens it up. But it's your story on the other side of the globe is so similar to this little white boy in Middle Georgia. Also, like, shut the door. The world is mine. I don't know what I connect to outside of this room, but I connect to this.
Yeah, and it's pretty. You're very spot on, because I remember a story that Will Smith told, and Rev Run actually told him from Run DMC that back in the day, in the 80s, they're very big on those Adidas like shell toe sneakers, like Run DMC, and like they're known for their Adidas, and they got really big, I think, in Japan. So I remember they had a show one time in Japan, and they landed, and a mob of like just a group of Japanese break dancers holding up their Adidas shoes, and they were so mind blown, like, wow, like our music has reached across the world, and here are like a bunch of people who don't even speak English, and they're holding up Adidas, and it's so universal. It's so cool.
That's awesome, man. Did you learn a lot of your English? I know we've spoken many times about your early childhood and stuff, and when you transitioned over here to America, do you find any like songs or albums, or is it the same one that helped you learn American like dialogue,
Right.
phrases?
Actually, no. So like I said before, like Michael Jackson, I didn't know what he was saying, but it sounded really cool. It was actually Power Rangers. Because it was that time where I wasn't listening to music, but then I would watch a lot of Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles and all that, and that's when I started picking up English.
Cowabunga.
Cowabunga, dude. Michelangelo. I know you're a Raphael guy, but I was Michelangelo all the way. It's the coolest guy.
Side tangent, and I was talking about this with someone here in Georgia. Do you still resonate with the same turtle now that you thought you did when you were a kid? Because I'm like, Raphael, it's always been my guy's Raphael, and then we had a big discussion where everyone was like, you're not Raphael.
Well, yeah, because I don't think you are either, because Raphael's kind of like a hothead. Well, maybe you can be at times, but I don't see you as that. No, definitely for me.
Let's go to you, though. You said Michelangelo, right?
Yes. Well,
And that's what you thought when you were a kid, too, right?
yeah.
So
Michelangelo.
even now, in your 40s,
Right. Dare you.
you still think, if I'm any turtle, I'm Michelangelo.
Absolutely, man. Michelangelo, I'm not a surfer, but he's a laid back dude. He just loves happiness. And look at me, I'm wearing a freaking orange hoodie on me right now. So if that doesn't scream Michelangelo, I don't know what does. I can't see myself as Donatello or anything like that, but Michelangelo seems like a pretty easygoing guy. So I feel like I stay true to the character.
I would agree with that assessment of you. I think you're definitely a Michelangelo.
Well, how about you? Do you still feel like you're a
They
Raphael?
schooled me. I don't know. They've confused me now. They've
Okay.
influenced me. My whole life I've been like, I'm Raphael, because my older brother was always the grounded, I follow the rules. No, Josh, we can't do that. We'll get in trouble. And our parents dressed my brother in blue his whole childhood, and they dressed me in red my whole childhood.
Okay.
It was just a thing, and I didn't choose it. It was just kind of like in pictures, Jeremy wore blue, Josh wore red, but we also watched the Ninja Turtles. So I'm like, you're totally Leonardo, and I'm Raphael. I'm like the rebel who's like, I don't like the way you guys are doing things. I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to go out on my own. And I always thought I was Raphael. And then every person I've asked lately, they're like, dude, you're Leonardo. You're not Raphael. Raphael will go get himself killed with the foot soldiers. And you might want to go head on, but you're not going to be dumb about it. You'll be like, all right, guys, let's make a plan. And the plan should be this. We can't just go in willy-nilly. We got to figure this thing out. They're like, you think too much to be Raphael. You're
Wow.
too calculated to be Raphael.
So true, though. So
It
true.
hurt my feelings.
The truth hurts.
I'm not Raphael, then who am I?
It didn't sit well with me.
But Michelangelo makes sense for you.
Yeah.
Someone who genuinely is just all about the fun, but not in a surface level way. It's like, hey, Michelangelo could be like faced with
Danger.
all this turmoil.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's about to be really bad. And he's just like,
It is
let me
what it
crack
is.
a joke. And let me see the best part of this situation, guys.
Yeah.
You know, so you're definitely Michelangelo.
I think so, man. Hey, so you and your brother kind of dressed up like the Power Rangers, because I don't know if you remember, the Black Ranger always wears black, Pink Ranger always wear pink. So you kind of grew up like that. You were the Red Ranger, which oddly enough, you played the Red Ranger, right?
did.
At a web series.
I did in a web series with my buddy Noah. And, you know, again, they were like, so what Ranger would you want to play? I was like, well, probably the Red Ranger, because I just associate myself with red.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you could do that role. But then if you think about it, I mean, the Red Ranger was like the leader guy.
Yeah. Yep. Well, until Tommy came along.
Until Tommy, but like I think we all wanted to be Tommy.
Heck yeah. I grew up my
I
hair,
wanted to be
man.
Tommy. I wanted to be the Green Ranger, who's eventually the White Ranger, and who's eventually multiple Rangers later. I mean, I know the lore too, not as well as you, but I do know some of it. But yeah, it's so weird that what your parents put you in, kind of like it has a ripple effect later in life.
Yeah.
The fact that like I didn't choose red, but even now I'm like red's my color. It's red.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's true, man. That's true. You know, going back to our childhood, like for me, right, with music and everything, it was, to me, that was always a fantasy world for me, because I never thought that that's something that I would pursue as a career. I just thought like, oh, this is something that, you know, that I would do behind closed doors. It'd be a lot of fun, but it's nothing for me to pursue. But it was different. I think it was different for you because at a young age, you were already doing productions, like school plays. So at that time, did you already know like, oh, music's probably going to be my career growing up?
I definitely thought I'm going to do something with music. At a very young age. I didn't resonate with sports, and I didn't resonate with like science, and I didn't resonate with math, and I didn't resonate with a lot of things, but I did resonate. I think what happens with children is you start to resonate with things that you can naturally kind of do.
Yeah.
Your ability. And those things become something that defines you. So I'm like, I'm not great at sports, and I'm not the smartest dude in the world. But when I hear notes, I don't just hear the note. I think, what's the harmony of that note? And no one told me to think about that. I just thought, I heard the note, but I was like, ooh, what if I hit 2 notes below? What if I do a triad above or below? And I'm like, how do I? And then I would sing, and then every now and then someone else would be like, are you singing harmony? Yes. They're like, I know how to do that too. And then I'm like, do you want to sing together? And me and this guy named Tyler, we would sing together.
How old were you at the time?
Oh man.
Preteen?
Huh?
Preteen?
I mean, I always sang in church, and I sang like with choir and stuff, but I never really, I didn't think I'm great. I still don't think I'm great, but like, really, when puberty knocked on the door, let's be honest.
Okay.
Puberty was like, hey, do you want to be attractive? You don't play sports. What can you do? I'm like, oh man, girls like it when I sing, when people, celebrities sing. So what if, I'm going to try that. So Tyler and I, when we were like 15, 16, so we're like, you know?
Yeah.
So it definitely, it was a childhood thing. And then that just morphed into who can I associate with that doesn't make me feel bad about liking music and singing and dancing. And there weren't many people. There weren't many people that wouldn't judge me or make me feel less than because that's something I resonated with. But it definitely was where I felt safe, but also most vulnerable, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Of course that makes sense.
Yeah.
What was your favorite production that you were a part of at school? Because I do remember that you played John Travolta. I forgot his name. Danny?
Danny.
Yeah, so you were the lead for Grease for that. But you done some other stuff, right?
I was Curly in Oklahoma, which is a Broadway musical, old classic. It was the lead guy. His name was Curly because he had curly hair. And this is like right when, around the same age, like 16 years old, 17 years old, I auditioned for every musical that the school had because I knew the boys don't audition. I got this in the bag.
That's true.
That can kind of carry a tune. Like I can stay on pitch. These guys cannot at least do that. So I got this. Plus, they're all going to be at football practice. My intent behind all of this was girls. I'm going to be really straight up with you.
Makes sense, yeah.
I thought the girls don't like me because I'm not the sports guy. But while the sports guys, their boyfriends are all at practice, guess what? There's the school musical rehearsals going on. Who's going to be the only dude there who embraces those girls? You know, I'll sing with you. Come over here. I'll practice with you.
And did it help with the lady friends?
Yes. It was successful.
It paid off, man.
But My favorite show I ever did was in my adulthood years.
Okay.
Was when I did Altar Boys, which is a Broadway show. It's the second longest running Broadway show. It might be third now, but for a long time it was the second longest running off Broadway show of all time. It's about a boy band, a Christian boy band that goes out to save the world. And
you were playing yourself.
Huh?
You were playing yourself at the time.
The director and the writer of the show, when I auditioned in New York City, I'm sitting there in a room of like 500 dudes that look like me. Little pretty boy, like, hey girl, like so many. And I just thought, there's no way I'm going to book this. I went from one friend in high school, Tyler, that I would sing with, to now I'm in a room full of Joshes who have been training their whole lives. I'm not going to book this. I'm not going to book this. But the more the director and the writer kept asking me questions about just who I am, and they're like, so what do you stand for? Like, what's your life like? Do you got a girl? And as I'm talking, they keep like going, yes, keep going, Joshua. And then when I finally booked it, because I won't tell you the whole process because it's boring. It's just Broadway stuff. But when we got into the first day of rehearsal, I said, so what was it really that, like, why did I book the lead role? And then the director and the writer looked at each other and they went, we have never auditioned anyone in the run of this show that is literally the lead role character without us having to tell you to be a certain thing.
That's true.
You are Matthew. You are this guy.
You were. Definitely, man.
I thought, okay, so he's like at the time, a very bound, conservative, has big dreams but doesn't know how to do anything about it, but like wants to like have the camaraderie of the boys, but like also is obsessed with girls. And yeah. Yeah, that was my favorite show I ever did. But it epitomized everything that I feel like interests me. Or if you could wrap me into
Absolutely.
One like, thing. Mm-hmm. Well, you're going to tell me you're going to pay me to travel the U.S. on a tour bus and sing and dance in the lead role of a boy band musical. You give me money? You give me money?
That's like someone paying me to eat. That's what it sounds like to me.
Dude, you know what? I think there are people that do that.
I know. There's a lot of people that do that, for sure. But, speaking of boy bands, man, like, boy bands played a really big role to both of our lives, man. We both love boy bands. For me, I kind of denied it at first. See, like...
You're one of those!
I was. Listen, it took a while, but listen, 6th grade...
You're too muscular. Stop it.
But like 6th grade, NSYNC was already a thing, They released their first album, they had the single "Tearing Up My Heart," and like I remember all the girls would have those binders where you can put pictures inside, and it will be like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. And honestly, I didn't like them then. I was like, oh, this has nothing to do with me.
Why didn't you like them?
It didn't resonate with me for some reason.
Why did it not resonate with you?
I don't know. For some reason, it just didn't.
When you would listen to it, would you feel like, I kind of like that, but I don't want to like that?
I didn't catch myself grooving to it. I just didn't.
You just naturally didn't like it.
I naturally just didn't. I did not like it to be cool. I just like...
You were just indifferent.
I was watching South Park. I was, doing other things. But then, junior high, NSYNC released Bye Bye Bye. And I saw the music video... And I really love the song, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a really good song. I want to dance like this. I want to look like them. This is really cool. And that's the first time I bought the CD. And I still remember this day. I had the CD in my room, and my friend came over, and he saw the album. He's like, NSYNC? And I'm like, oh, I bought that for my sister. I said I bought that for my sister. And for those of you that don't know, I have a half sister. But that's what I said. And I was so ashamed by it. But come to find out, that guy loves NSYNC too. So we bonded over NSYNC. You met him, my friend Jay.
I was gonna say, is this Jay Wonder?
Yeah, it's Jay Wonder. But because of that NSYNC album, the No Strings Attached album, I started appreciating the first album, the first NSYNC album. Because at that point, I was all in. I was an NSYNC fan, and I just loved everything they did. I would watch all their interviews. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to dress like them. JT, more in particular. I wanted to be like Justin. And I was lucky enough to find a group of 4 other guys that liked them as much as I did. So we were kind of like the NSYNC of our junior high. And we did talent shows and all that. But of course, being an NSYNC fan, I know this is not the same case for you, but naturally, I didn't really support Backstreet Boys. I would watch their videos on TRL, like, guess that's a good song, but NSYNC's better. But I was all about NSYNC. So that was my boy band experience. How has the world of boy band opened your eyes to girls and dancing and just your lifestyle now?
It's something that's a part of me that will always be a part of me, no matter. I mean, I'm never going to be the guy that just abandons that kind of music. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be like 70 and still, if I have hair, like I'm still going to like try to, like, and if I hear a good beat, I'm going to be like, what, it's just going to be there.
Yeah.
It's just part of me. And I used to, like, in high school, I thought, man, like, this boy band thing, like, will carry me through high school. But, like, wherever I go for college, it's just, I got to drop it. I got to evolve. I got to, like, learn different kinds of music because it won't be, like, it's a fad. It won't last forever. I love boy band music. I think if I really strip it down, like, it is, to my core, a massive part of me. But if you really break it down, I love pop music. Mm-hmm. I love beautiful melodies. Yeah. I love when you take a beautiful melody about something that a lot of people can resonate with, and then you add other voices to that melody, and you sculpt it, and you rehearse it, and it's not just one person singing. There's a camaraderie behind you, and then guess what? The camaraderie will then change places, and someone else will take the lead. And I just loved it. And then what? You're gonna like dance with, so you're gonna combine Michael Jackson and like almost create, and I mean this in the most, I'm just trying to be honest.
Sure.
Take Michael Jackson and water his talent down a lot and make him 5 people.
I totally get that. That.
Like, come on, you got Michael. There is no other.
He is music, man.
You put it together, man, and I just have a deep love for the musicality of pop music and boy band music in general, and choirs and harmonies, and I'm gonna be old and do that. So I think that bleeds over into a lot of what you like and what I like, and it's not just the boy band realm, but you're gonna see similarities.
Yeah.
I know you love Bruno Mars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which makes total sense for you. Because of why you resonated with Michael, why you resonated with Will Smith, and why you resonated with NSYNC is the same. Like, Bruno Mars has the same kind of.
He's special. Vibe, he's once in a lifetime musician, man.
He's a package artist.
Yeah. Hey,
you could put him on a stage by himself.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need the 4 other guys.
True.
Which again, then you could talk about boy bands and when they eventually have a front guy leave. And that's a whole topic. It's just.
I know.
To your question, it's involved. It's part of me, and it's affected my whole life in a great way. And if I didn't have that, I don't know where I would have found a lot of my identity and things that bring me joy.
Yeah.
And I naturally just kind of cling to. I don't know what I would be without that genre of music.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
True or false? Did you try to convince your brother Jeremy to be in a boy band with you as a kid?
I mean, that's like a billion times true. Dude, the amount of times I sat, the hours I spent trying to coerce him into doing this full time with me as a teenager.
Yeah.
And we did a talent show. We got one more guy to join us, so we.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
And we called ourselves.
Here we go.
3J.
Wait, what?
3J.
I dig it. It has a ring to it.
Because it was Joshua, Jeremy, and another guy named Josh.
How awkward would it be if the third guy's name is Arthur? Double J-A, maybe?
Double J-A.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. But that's cool.
Yeah, I tried to convince him, and we did a talent show. I was trying to say, hey, we don't need to be as corny as some of the boy bands we see, because you have different levels of boy band corniness. You have like extreme, like cringe, and then you have like, oh gosh, whoa, I want to do that. I was like, Jeremy, my brother. It's like, Jeremy, there's a boy band called BB Mac.
Yes, 3 guys. Mm-hmm.
3 dudes who play instruments, and every now and then might like have a little bit of choreo, but it's all simple.
Yeah.
And I was like, we could be like them, okay? I was trying to compromise. I was like, we don't have to be like pop lock, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we sang Back Here until you're back here, baby. We did that for the talent show. It was terrible. It was terrible.
It's probably not.
I mean, at the time, we were like, whoa, look at us. But my whole life, I've been trying to piece together a boy band.
You have. I've been a part of that journey with you, man.
Then when we did Shadows,
yeah,
that was another. It was like a cousin of a boy band.
But before that, you were in an like. Not to say that we weren't a real boy band, but you were in a legit group making albums with your wife, Pamela, and your good friend Timmy B, right? You guys were a legit group, and you guys were you in a record label? Like, were you signed to a record label at the time?
We were in talks with Capitol Records.
Wow, that's huge.
To make it sound more serious than it was at the time. It felt like, oh my God, we're gonna get signed by Capitol.
Yeah. Wow.
So my wife Pamela, we dated a long, long time ago, as
right.
You know the story. And when we dated in college, we formed a group with our buddy Tim, and we called ourselves Braided. And it was very much, it was kind of like Black Eyed Peas in a way.
Yeah, I can see that.
So you had hip hop, pop, you had all these different
or
styles.
City High, remember them?
Oh yeah, very much like that.
Yeah.
And we were rehearsing in a church in Hollywood, because at the time I was a part of a few of the churches there, and we were in the church. It was kind of late at night, like 8 p.m., and we were just rehearsing because we were going to be singing at the church soon. And we always left the doors open because it was right in Hollywood. It was off of Vine. It's called Hollywood Baptist Church. And this random person walked in as we were singing our trio thing that we were doing. And she stopped. She said, "Are you guys signed with anybody?" And we're like, "No. This is it. This is the Hollywood dream. It's happening." Like,
this sounds like a movie.
Right? It felt like it, man. It really did feel like it. She went, "Well, my uncle works with some pretty big people, and I think he would love to hear you. What are you guys doing right now?" I said, "We're rehearsing." She said, "Well, his offices are right down the street. You should come down and sing for him." And we're all looking at each other like, is this legit? Or do we follow this girl to this random place? Let's do it. So we did it. And we walked down to Sunset Boulevard, and we went into what is the name of it now? I can't even name the Sunset Recording. No, doesn't matter. It's right by the crossroads of the world on Sunset Boulevard, and there's this big building that is like a school for music and producing music. And when you walk in, there are all these platinum records on the wall everywhere of people that have worked in this place and released and done music with these people. And I'm looking at Pamela, and I'm looking at Tim, and I'm at the time I'm like 22 years old, and I'm looking at them. They're looking at me, and I'm like, "Oh, what did we just step into? We're about to meet someone legit." But we had been rehearsing for months and months and months and months. So we could, at the drop of a hat, we could sing a 5-minute medley, a cappella, no other instruments, and blow you away because we had worked on it.
It's like breathing to you guys.
And she's like, my uncle's name is Zap. And we're like, Zap? She said, well, everyone calls him Zap. Don't call him anything else. Trust me. I said, okay. Well, we walk in. There's this big dude in this beautiful... We had never been in like a legit recording studio before. And we walk in, and this is like the booth area, right? Where they're like all the little buttons and stuff that you see in music videos or movies. And he's like, so what's your story? I'm like, we were just rehearsing up the street in the church, and your niece came up. And he's like, so you sing? I'm like, yeah. Do you sing good? We're like, we think we're all right. He said, all right, go into the booth and just sing whatever you got. Hopefully it's good. And I think he thought we were just going to drop the ball and not do anything good. Well, we went in there, and he sat behind the big window where, just like in the movies.
Yeah.
Man, I'm thinking, like,
The glass,
I watched
everything.
We Are the World.
Yeah.
I watched that music video. I watched One Sweet Day, where they're in the booth. Now we're in the booth on Sunset Boulevard with a big producer, and all these platinum records are everywhere. And he said, sing. We both sang. So we sang. And by the end of it, all he did, he leaned forward and he hit the button. Y'all can come back in here now. And he just leaned back. And we're like, what? Did we mess up? None of us cracked. We blended. We was good. We walked back in. And he said, I want to represent you guys.
Wow.
You are, he said, you're basically like, he used the comparison too. He's like, you're like Black Eyed Peas, but with a little bit more vocals and more soul.
Yeah.
And a little less hip hop, but still with an urban like groundedness to it. You're not cheesy. You're not not like poppy.
Yeah.
He said, so I need you to write a demo CD. I need you to write and put together a demo CD. And when you put that together, I have connections with Capitol Records and a lot of people. So we did. We went on this long journey of like recording a demo CD. We found producers. He provided a lot of help and musicians for us. We recorded it. And then he's like, great, this is awesome. I'm going to take you over to my friend over at Capitol Records. She's the person that you need to give what's called a press kit to. A press kit it's like a resume for artists.
Okay.
Here's my music. Here's my image. Here's some photos. Here's all the information about us. Here's our press kit. And he said, now she's pregnant. You need to get this press kit to her before she has the baby. When she has the baby, I don't think she's going to take on new clients, new people. But she's very interested. And her baby came early, and we never gave her the press kit. We never gave her that final thing where then they would take it to the big wigs and shop it around. Are we interested? Are we going to do something with this?
Yeah.
Because they have the green light from Zap over at the recording studios on Sunset. LA Recording School, that's what it's called. LA Recording.
10 minutes later.
Yeah, right? Like, we had all the pieces together at the time. Like, I had a long ponytail.
Oh, that's right, man. You look like the Hansons.
I did. But I remember, like, when we would meet with Zap occasionally, because he would listen to our demos, and he'd be like, do that one differently. That one's good. It needs more of this. Take it back to the producers. Do that. And he kept looking at me. He would say, do you know what a baby boy is? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's a baby that's a boy. He said, no, if I say you're the baby boy of the group, do you know what that means? I said, that I'm the one that looks young? He said, no. He said, I don't want to give you a big head. You're like the Timberlake of the group. You're the baby boy. Like, you're like he's like, don't cut your hair. Whatever you do, don't cut your hair.
Oh, he said, don't cut it.
He said, do not cut your hair. He said, your hair is gonna do something for you guys.
Wow.
Don't cut your hair. And I remember thinking, okay, I guess like it does make us stand out. And like every other group, you have like the this kind of hair.
Sure.
You know? And white guys typically, they didn't at the time. This is 2000 and
Frosted tips.
huh?
Frosted tips.
Frosted tips, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I held on to that long hair way longer than I should have because like, this makes me the baby boy, and if I cut it, Zap is going to be mad, and we're not going to make it. It all lies in the hair.
Right.
It doesn't, and none of that mattered.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a long story. But it was one of those kind of LA moments when you think, is this the Hollywood story? Is this how it all happens?
Yeah.
And just like it can be given to you, it can slip through your fingers.
Yes. Absolutely.
Just as fast.
Yeah.
Because we didn't strike it while it was hot. We didn't say, here's a press kit, here it is, boom, we're ready.
Yeah.
We were like, let's take our time. We each need to write our own section in it. We need to, and we're like, oh, we got time. She's not going to have the baby for another month.
Right.
Bro. And we ran out of time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we have the demo album. Like,
That's
we had
cool.
it. We put it on, we made a MySpace page for it. It was big, man. We were like, ooh, we have a MySpace music page.
Yeah, I remember those.
We can have everyone like check out our album. Hey guys, we have 1,000 plays on one of our songs. 1,000 people clicked play.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was all it was definitely like a massive harmony driven boy band style
Yeah.
group. So yeah, man. But we were in a group
We were.
where I would say, were we a boy band?
I want to say we're a parody of a boy band, and I mean that in the most respectful way. I felt like we were more of the Lonely Islands than we were a boy band, right? I mean, I guess we had some serious songs, like Stepping Out of the Shadows was pretty serious, but I think our first initial thought process of being in this boy band was kind of like making fun of ourselves, right? Like a spoof of ourselves, kind of. We didn't take it too seriously. And I think we kind of want to make it a little bit more comical, at least like the first song, Vlog With Me. But dude, yeah, like that was like such a cool time for me because...
It's not like for you because like you described it perfectly. It was, I guess maybe parody is an easy way to like describe it, but I understand exactly what you mean by it.
Yeah.
We didn't take ourselves seriously. We knew we were part of the joke.
Yeah.
That's why we called ourselves the Shadows. We're just kind of like in the background.
Right.
But let's be self-aware and also give them some fun music that's actually like you could listen to it in your car and be like, oh, okay, I kind of like this. But then we also like thought, oh, we need something genuine at the end. It can't all be jokes. We got to do something to inspire them, right?
Yeah.
But for you, I'm curious as like for me, like doing this type of thing, gathering people together, going to a vocal booth, working on lyrics. Like I've been doing that since I was like really young, and like people are annoyed at me because I always ask them to do that stuff. But for you, you seemed so genuinely just happy to be there. Typical Arnold. What was it like for you to be in a studio, to be in the creative process, to hear a track, to perform it live to people that are like, I know the words of this? Like, what did that feel like for you?
In the least bragging way, I kind of felt like it was natural to me because this was my lifestyle in my head. This was my fantasy lifestyle. Like I had years of practice of pretending to perform. So actually getting to perform, it kind of just flowed. And I think the biggest part of me that didn't feel natural was just the fact that it was new. Right? The fact that it was new. I never really done it before. Yes, I've done like talent shows and all that, but this time like we were the center of attention. They're coming to see us. And if we sucked, then we can't really blame it on anything else, you know? But it was more of stage fright for me. I remember leading up to our first show in Irvine, both me and Julian, we were talking to each other and we would have nightmares. We would have nightmares that we bombed on stage. No. Yeah, like I was like, dude, and like as exciting as it was, the countdown to the date was really scary for me because I never performed in a really long time in front of people. So, but at the same time, I tried to build myself up like, listen, man, like it's gonna be fine. you know, you kind of know how to dance. It's gonna be just do your part, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be okay. Josh is an expert. Whatever happens, like he's the pro at this, so he can save the show.
I'll pick the mic up and be like, "This is part of the show."
But the whole thing was so new to us, man. From rehearsals, we rented a dance studio, and just practicing our performance and everything. It was just so much fun. And I feel like once I got the stage fright part over with, and I the first time I stepped on stage, the lights were on. I was looking at like people. I never felt more comfortable in my life. Like I felt really, really good, and to me, it felt like everything happened so fast.
Yeah.
And on stage, I felt like I was at home, man. And I thought the first show went really, really great, more than better than I thought that was gonna be. And I remember I was like riding that high for the next month or so, and I'm like, when's the next show? Let's do this, you know? So yeah. But I do remember how nervous I was, because I don't know if you remember this. Before, I don't know if I should be saying this, but before the show,
I remember backstage before the show.
Okay, there you go.
Everything we did.
There you go. I'm gonna say it because I feel like it's okay.
By all means.
We were taking shots to calm our nerves, because I remember JT said before every show he took a shot of tequila just to ease the nerves, and I took too many, to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I need to hold on to something. Am I gonna be able to perform right now? Because I'm feeling too good. I'm feeling too good right now, but you know, we got it together.
I forgot that you had. I forgot the moment where we were all like, "Mayday, Mayday!" Arnold's glowing. He's glowing. He's glowing more than he should be glowing right now. What do we do? And we're like, all right, we can. I remember even. I feel like I went to probably Matt. Mm-hmm. Someone that was helping us with the tech.
Yeah.
And I said, give us 10 more minutes.
Did you say that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
I remember asking just to push it, just to give you a little time for that buzz to kind of like...
Oh, I had no idea, dude.
Because I thought we can't go out there, especially with these two guys, Julian and Arnold, who are not accustomed to... Like, you can get on a stage with a mic and like talk to people, but when you have an organized, scheduled, technical, performative thing, you can't be loosey-goosey. You got to hit your points.
Yeah.
I was like, they've never done that, and I can't have... If Arnold is kind of even halfway there, we're gonna have to rail him, not rail him, rein him back. Yeah, I asked for about a 10-minute
wow.
hold, and I remember like shooting you looks just to like look in your eyes, just to be like, where is he at right now? He's sitting there, because I remember before the shots, I remember how you and Julian looked like you were about to throw up.
Yeah,
but you weren't angry or sad. You just seemed so like, I want this to go well. What do we do?
Yeah,
I don't want to mess up. What do we do? What if they hate us? And I'm like, it's gonna be fine. All you gotta do is get out there, because they already paid, they already love you, they're gonna be excited that you're just there, trying to like convince you guys it's okay, while also thinking, please don't mess up the games, guys. This is our moment. There's a lot of people in the audience right now. Like this is sold out. Like we cannot mess this up. But then you went out there and you crushed it, man. The whole way that show opened with like the big reveal of the it's like you had time to like get on that stage, let the crowd eat it up without even saying anything. Like, let that simmer. So it's like, if you go out and then the first thing you have to do is hit a note while your nerves are there. It's like, we vlog with me.
Yeah.
That's on the track.
Yeah.
Let's get all our nerves out. But you guys crush it. I don't think anyone would have known that you were nervous.
I hope so, man.
I don't think anyone would have known. I couldn't tell being next to you on stage, and performers can tell if other performers are like antsy or feeling something. You seemed so natural on that stage.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. It was definitely another highlight in life, is to like the little shadow tour thing we did.
Yeah, I mean that could never be taken away from me or from you. You know, like we did that.
Yeah.
Two shows. It was a tour. We can officially call it a tour, right?
We had the offer to do the tour.
Yeah.
But for anyone listening or paying attention to this, we had the offer on the table to extend the tour for at least 7 more shows.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you have 3 individual people that are not just the group.
Yeah. Right.
You know, NSYNC is NSYNC.
Yeah.
Before Justin went off to do something, and Backstreet was Backstreet before Nick or AJ.
Yeah.
So, like, we had individual lives in other parts of our careers that had nothing to do with the group and the music and the show and the tour. So it made sense that it was hard to get everyone's schedule to line up for something that maybe conflicted with what everyone else wanted to do.
Yeah.
But just for the record, we could have done more.
Definitely.
And I still get messages every now and then, probably once every couple of months. I'll get someone that said, when are we getting a Shadows reunion? When are we getting a new song from the Shadows? Oh my God, can you please bring 2015 back? Can you bring that era of YouTube back? Like the O2L days, like the Grace Helbig days. Like, not that they're all doing their own thing. They're all doing great.
Yeah.
I don't mean it in a negative way.
Sure.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that, like, you know, you have to move on from in life. But there are a few things that you're like, I could pick that right up and do it.
Yeah.
Without it being weird or, I don't know. Like, if the 3 of us, for some odd reason, and I don't know, was I telling you this? That if people are like, would you ever do shows or would you ever do this again? And I say, you know, if YouTube ever, you know how TV shows or companies will, like, gather things from back in the day and bring them back
little
for
reboot.
nostalgia,
Yeah.
reboot, whatever. It doesn't have to be a reboot, but just like, here's a special event.
Oh, sure. Yeah, one night only type of thing.
Right. If YouTube said we're doing a one night only where we're hosting certain things from that era, here's an offer. Would the Shadows like to come back and do a parody, whatever thing? I would be like, all right, boys. What would we do? What's the new joke? We got to find a new joke. What's the new joke? We could find something there. We could create something.
I'm sure, man.
Yeah.
It
It was fun, though, having you on tour.
Oh, it was a blast, dude. It was so much fun.
When I went off and did my own tour, I was like, who am I bringing? I got to bring my boy Arnold.
Your tour was so fun. So after the Shadows tour, Josh went on his own solo tour. And I remember you had it all set up and everything. And I remember you got like a big bus. And last minute, you were kind of like, hey, do you want to be a part of this? And I'm like, yeah. Because to me, it was, I said yes for selfish reasons. Because it was all the fun without the work. Because you handled all the behind the scenes stuff. Everything was already set. All I had to do was sleep in your bus, eat your food, perform, and do it again the next day and see and tour all the different cities. And I thought that was a lot of fun. And I remember leaving that tour. I think it was it 2 weeks or so?
The tour was in 2 legs.
Right.
So the first leg was a couple of weeks, and then the next leg
I joined you in the second leg, I think. But I remember just my time there, I got along with everyone there. And I remember telling Hart, like, look, you're like the only person that like I can be with 24/7, 365. But after that tour, like I can also hang out with these guys like all day, every day without getting annoyed, without needing time for myself. Like it was just, to me, it was just genuine, and we had like genuine fun, and it was such a fun time. But yeah, dude, your solo tour was great, and you also played big venues too. That was you had pictures on like billboards and everything. That was crazy, man. Did you enjoy that tour?
It's odd to think that like that was like a reality, and man, a lot of times you gotta like be in it and enjoy it. And if life teaches you anything, it's to not always look behind you or ahead of you. It's to really hold what you have and cherish it.
Yeah.
And that's a time, that tour, and like just images in my mind of like you and me on the tour bus with Tim and Rebecca.
Yeah.
Johnny, the driver.
Johnny, man. Johnny. He was a character.
Yeah, he definitely.
Okay, sorry. Sidetrack before I forget. I remember Johnny. I showed.
For anyone listening, Johnny was the tour bus driver, and this is
Yes.
when I say tour bus, I mean tour bus. I don't mean like a small van
No.
or an extended cab van. This was a 12 bunk
Yes.
tour bus with a front lounge, a back. Was there a bed in the back, or was it all?
It wasn't a bed. It was a little lounge,
area?
but we had the three or the bunk beds in the middle of the bus.
Yeah.
But I remember you were kind of introduced. You were telling Johnny about me because I came late. Like, oh, like Arnold's gonna join us and everything. And then I met him. Super chill, quiet, easy guy. But one moment, like one incident that I do remember was I was showing him like a picture of my wife Hart, and I'm like, hey, this is my wife, and he was like, what the hell is she doing with you? And I just thought that was the funniest thing ever because I agree. But that was the best, man. I love Johnny.
Johnny. Now Johnny's when you think of like a tour bus driver or even just like a truck driver.
Yeah.
Johnny is like, you could cast him in that role in any movie, any TV show. And he was so kind of matter of fact and so kind of like, oh, when I was touring with, and he would list all these A-list celebrities that he
I remember that. Yeah.
living for, and we're all like, have you seen the show that we do? Like, of course there's value in everything.
Yeah.
But when you're, driving around these insanely famous musicians, and then now you're like with the YouTube crew,
dude,
all these fangirls outside.
Yeah.
But he was cool, man. He played a part, and he was like down to like help with the meet and greet sometimes, and the meet and greet with you was always fun too.
It's a blast.
Like, yeah. I'm just thankful that we got to do that.
I know. Me too, man.
Like,
Me
you
too.
and I have that shared memory. It's not just like if I, that season is come and gone, but when I like reflect on and talk to people in my life about it, I'm like, they won't understand, but you understand.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know what, when I say, the smell of the bus, I can smell it right now. I know what the bus smells like.
Yeah.
Or the feeling of going to a new venue and like checking out the changing room or your dressing room and, oh my God, the sound doesn't work so great in this one. What do we do? Like, if I am frustrated, you would have been like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was rough. Where other people like, oh, that sounds like a fun experience. So,
dude, I do remember
thanks for going on tour with me, bro.
Oh, dude, my pleasure, man. In that tour, though, I do remember this one incident. We were we in Georgia ever? Somewhere in the South?
I definitely did a few Southern shows.
Okay,
but we were in
so
Georgia.
we were
near Atlanta.
It was one of them. And after the show, we went to a diner. I forgot which diner it was, but it's a well-known chain. Imagine like the South, right? Like the South. And here you come with pink hair and bandana pants. And I think I had like blue hair at the time. And we also also had Tim there, who's African American, and Rebecca, and we were just like such a different group. Like, man, so different individuals coming in together, and I just remember the eyes staring at us like, what are they doing here? And maybe you can recall, because like I don't remember what happened, but I just remember one time we were eating, and then you were just looking around, and you're like, hey, let's get out of here. Like, let's leave. Do you remember that moment? Like, was there a fight that was about to break out? Because like you just told us like we need to go right now.
Was that one of the times that we had to take a pit stop because we were halfway to the next state, and we stopped at like a fast food place or a Taco Bell?
It was like a diner, dude. Like, it was a diner.
Did we sit down?
We did.
Were we waiting on our food?
We sat down, like we already ate, but you were kind of like, let's finish up. Like, we need to go.
You know what? I don't want to pretend to remember. I don't remember that moment, but what you described does sound like when you paint the picture of pink-haired, could be whatever guy, Asian guy, black guy, blonde girl, big tour bus. I remember when we were headed to the South thinking, what kind of reaction are we going to get from people that are not there for the show?
Yeah.
Because I grew up here thinking just liking NSYNC in music makes me a target for harassment.
Yeah.
As just a white guy. And to think of like what the culture, I was afraid. I wasn't afraid of violence. I was just afraid of just feeling uncomfortable, or that I was afraid you guys weren't going to feel welcomed and accepted, and just kind of like, you're just another person here, just like everybody else. But when you show up to town in a tour bus with 4 very different looking people that hit all these different demographics, you put them together and just put it on a table. I also thought if we get weird looks, they're probably thinking, oh my God, who's that?
Right.
Who's that people?
Right.
They must be musicians or something. Did you see what they rolled up on?
Yeah.
I knew we had an exit strategy, but if you're saying that happened, I probably thought in that moment, these people don't care if we're on a tour or not. They're going to make comments because they probably already did, and I heard them.
Yeah.
Because me and my buddy Tyler, the guy that I originally started singing with, we referenced just the other day, there was a time we went to Applebee's in my 20s, and I had been going to New York. I had been coming back from college and stuff, and at the time my hair was starting to grow, like long, and I didn't dress like this typical Southern guy. And we were in Applebee's just catching up with each other, and a group of guys just a few tables down, they were snickering, they were laughing, and I could tell they were laughing about us, because I hadn't really felt that since I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I come back to the South, and these guys are so threatened at the idea of like these two. I didn't know why they were pinpointing us, because we were a couple of dudes. We weren't being loud. We weren't doing anything different than they were. But as we got, I said to my buddy, I was like, we should probably get out of here. I don't think people are going to be very kind to us the longer we're here. When you can read the room, right?
Sure, of course. Vibe. Yeah.
And as we got up to go, I was wearing a pink shirt.
Ah, okay.
I was wearing a pink shirt that said "Best Male Performance," and it had like a porn, like it was like a shirt. It was like a silhouette of a dude with a mustache.
Okay.
Something you could get at the time at like Hot Topic or something, but it was just a t-shirt. Right. It didn't say any cuss words. It didn't show graphic.
It just showed too much personality, basically.
Right. It definitely was me feeling comfortable with wearing a pink shirt. And as we walked by, I heard someone go, "Nice freaking pink shirt," and I stopped. And then Tyler stopped too, and he looked at me. He said, "Come on, let's go." I said, "You go ahead." He said, "Josh, don't." Because at this point, I'd been in New York. I'd been in LA.
Yeah, you've seen the world, man.
And I didn't think I was big and bad. I just thought, I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna try to be violent, but I'm definitely not gonna back away.
You're not gonna let it slide.
Let you think you're like, get those guys out of here. Because in their minds, I really felt like they thought, look, they're here potentially 2 gay guys, and let's make them feel bad about it.
Sure.
And I turned around. I was like, and there were 4 of them, and they were all like camo, like camo hatch, whatever. And I turned around. I was like, "Excuse me, what was that?" They're like, "I said nice pink shirt," and then I walked right up to their table. They were in a booth, so like 2-2, and I walk up. I'm like, "You like my shirt?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's pink and it's pink." I said, "Yeah." I So I like all of your outfits. Did you go shopping together? That must have been fun. But no. And then one dude like smacked the other one. He's like, "You were with me when I got my hat." Whatever. I was like, "Hey, enjoy Bass Pro Shop. Maybe we'll see you guys around next time. If you need any fashion advice, I'd love to give you some." He said, "Well, I won't be needing that from you." I said, "And I definitely won't be needing that from you. Good day."
Wow.
And then I turned and I walked out. I didn't say, "You piece of..."
Right.
But I definitely thought, that kind of mentality has always been in my head of being like aware of liking music and liking yourself. It sometimes threatens other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
To see someone else thriving in their individuality.
Yeah, for sure.
So that has nothing to do with the person observing it.
Yeah.
So to be on tour with you guys, if I said let's roll, it's probably because the thing on the back of my neck was going blink, blink, blink.
Your Josh's senses were tingling a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, we don't need it, and we're having a good time.
Yeah.
There's no need for a confrontation. We're done. Let's just move on to the next city where we're gonna like perform for tons of people that love what we do.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry you felt that.
No, like I was just confused. I'm like, whoa. I think I just finished eating. I'm like, oh, we're leaving? Oh, okay.
And we gotta go.
And I always wondered, like, what happened? Like,
honestly, it probably has something to do with that. And I'm not trying to fill in the gaps just from nothing. If I told us without telling you, if I didn't say we have to go because of this, I probably was thinking, I don't want to make it an issue and I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
To make anyone feel, I don't want you guys to feel uncomfortable. Like, I think they're judging us.
Yeah.
But you know what? Maybe I internalized that. Maybe no one had a problem. And maybe I was insecure that they did have a problem.
Right.
Maybe I was projecting, you know?
Yeah.
I'm learning how to do both sides.
That's good.
I do everything correctly. No, sometimes I'm wrong. So, yeah.
Well, I feel like with all your music background, and I feel like it accumulated to one of your big accomplishment of having a solo album, and I think you released that maybe 3 years ago, and all really great songs. And dude, I'm not gonna lie, last week I was bumping "Summertime Masterpiece," and it is such a feel good song. And I remember recording the music video for that, and I'm surprised that it got done because we shot that guerrilla style, right? I mean, you didn't have any license, license to film at the beach or anything like that, but we just did it. And I just want to say congrats on that album. And I think was that 2 years ago or something that you posted that it made some type of top list or something, right?
Yeah, it cracked the top 50 on iTunes.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Just in albums, I had screenshotted, it was 88, and then it was 86, and then everyone was like, "You're in the top 50." I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I'd have to reference old photos that would take me way too long to look at.
Sure.
I don't want to waste your time, but I remember thinking, my album is higher up in the rankings than I think it was either Bruno Mars or Justin Timberlake.
Wow.
One of those two. Granted, they had the album out for a while, so it still
counts. It still counts.
The fact that technically I had an album out at the same time as
yeah.
And there was a week where I was higher in the rankings than them was really kind of satisfying because I never thought I would actually put out a full album, and I didn't think people would listen to it. And you don't think about charting when you're making an album.
Yeah.
You just think about the song or whatever. So it was really, really cool. And "Summertime Masterpiece," man, that video is nothing like how I storyboarded it, the way I wanted it to look, the way I envisioned it, but I wouldn't change any of it. I wouldn't shift anything around. We definitely did it guerrilla style. We definitely were kicked off the beach. We definitely would shoot in an area and then think, we got to keep moving, keep going, because I think they're on to us, get to the next location. Oh, this is a good angle. All right, play the song. Guys, do your choreo. Go. But man, it's been really cool that in all this journey that I've known you almost a decade, when it comes to the topic that this conversation is about, you've been there ever since like I truly was pursuing it on YouTube. You've been there from the first like kind of music realm experimentations that I was doing, all throughout. Here's just a silly video to let's put on a show. Hey, let's create a song. Hey, let's go and put out something that hundreds of thousands of people are going to watch.
Yeah.
And you were there, sprinkled out through the entire thing, not just, oh, we did this one thing.
Right.
Like you and me, like there was something, it's always been something so cool about our friendship is that I never thought I want Arnold because he has numbers, or I want Arnold because he brings clout. I just thought it's so natural to do it with Arnold. It doesn't feel like we're working on something. It feels like we're doing something that is exciting and like, are we going to do this? Can we do this? Wouldn't it be fun if we could do this?
Yeah.
It never seemed like a chore. It never seemed like a career move.
Right.
It was just so easy to do stuff with you because I could bounce ideas off your head and you never made me feel stupid about it.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, that's great. I don't know if I want to do that. okay. What about this? But like, you were honest about it. So it's been cool. Like, I guess I really hadn't thought of it in that way until this conversation, that now that we've had it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, you were there. The first video we did together was about the same type of topic, the music, the same interests. And then that's kind of dictated a lot of what we do.
It's true,
and how
man.
we interact with each other. So
it's
been
true.
cool, man.
And with that said, are we going to see a second album possibly soon in the works?
I don't know, man.
All right.
Honestly, I love music. I will always love music. I'm in a new realm of life and kind of rediscovering what I am and what I want to be, because as we said, like I've resonated so much with like my identity is this.
Mm-hmm.
But what if that doesn't bring you happiness anymore?
Mm-hmm.
What if that is a source of vulnerability, or it's not healthy?
Right.
And so for the last 4 years, I haven't really enjoyed it or wanted to do it.
Okay.
So many circumstances, so many things, as you know, stuff. But, as life progresses and the state of the world is just constantly, you never know.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that thinks if I felt inspired, I would love to do it, but I would want to do it without the purpose of pleasing other people. Let me create this. I want to make it because I like it.
Yeah. No,
not that I didn't do that before.
Sure.
But if I were to do it right now, it would be because, oh, maybe I'll get views, or oh, maybe it'll bring some more money in, or but it's not because I got this music in me and I want to like create it.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist right now. It's more, I enjoy so many of the simple things in life right now. Mm-hmm. But music is a thing, man. And I'm not, never say never. I don't know.
But it's cool that you said that, though, because I feel like true artists feel that way. Music shouldn't be forced. It should come from experience or inspiration. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Bruno Mars fan and I know a lot about him, but that's the reason why it took him 6 years to release this upcoming album that he has, because 24 Karat Magic, he took that and he went on a 5-year tour. He just did victory laps because he was so proud of that album. And the album that he's coming out with Anderson .Paak this year, hopefully, he started that, and one of the songs in that album he started in 2017. And he just didn't want to rush it, And even collabing with Anderson .Paak, it wasn't forced. And they didn't even intend on making an album. They were just jamming in the studio. And Bruno's like, see you tomorrow? And it just happened so organically. So that's how music should be. Like, if you feel like you want to do it, do it. If you don't, don't. Because it kind of does music a disservice if you force it.
Yeah, I agree. I figured that about Bruno Mars, that he wasn't trying to rush anything because his album was it was everywhere.
Yeah.
It still is. I mean, every song on that album's a banger. Like every
Yeah.
single, like, God, man, everything about it. I was like, I feel nostalgic, but it also feels new. So what
Yeah.
is this? So I understand how an artist like him could be like, I don't have anything in me right now to put out, but let's in the words of Michael Jackson, people would like try to jump things or rush things, and he would just be like, simmer.
Yeah.
Gotta let it simmer.
Yeah.
No. Simmer. Wait for my cue. Wait for my head for the cue. And I feel like as an artist too, it's like you gotta let it simmer.
Yeah, absolutely.
But some people would say the opposite. They're like, simmer. If you gotta strike it hot, man. If you had an album, it's great. Don't wait too long. You gotta like come back.
Because that's coming from a financial state of mind, not from an artistic state of mind.
Good call there, Arnold. Ooh, you're like, so what you're saying is
Well, listen.
prove my point.
Yeah.
Yes, I did just prove your point. Unwittingly. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely started writing some songs.
Yeah.
I've written like half of like 6 songs.
No, that's good. That's awesome, man.
And I also know that if I was in an environment like with my producer in LA, who's now traveling the US, his name's, Joey.
Yeah.
If I was hanging out with Joey all the time, I would be creating music all
Sure.
the time.
Yeah, because you'd be
Also,
inspired.
It's the same thing like Bruno, and what's the guy he's with
Anderson
now?
.Paak?
Now, so you're just saying they were vibing together. They're just hanging out, and they're kind of like making music, and they're like, let's keep doing
In
this.
2017, I think he might have been opening for Bruno, or they had a show together. And after Bruno's show, they would just hit the studio, and they would just jam like buddies. And Bruno would go to his show, and like, man, like this guy's like one of the baddest musicians out there. Like, let's have some fun and create music. We don't know what's gonna come out of it, but I just want to make music with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just so happens that they get along great together, and they wrote, a lot of songs. So package it together, make it an album.
Sometimes it really is about your environment, man.
Yeah.
Like you're around creative people, and you're constantly seeing them create, and they're like, hey, what do you think about this? And then you start to, that part of your brain turns on. And
Yeah.
I think, gosh, just with like COVID and everything, like I don't go places.
Sure.
And like I don't vibe with people. I vibe in my little tiny bubble.
Yeah.
And if I think if, when the world shifts to a different place, I'm not saying back to normal because I don't think we're ever going to go back to that.
It'll be a
because
new normal.
A new normal. I think when that really starts to happen and I'm hanging around creative people, I'm going to be like, oh, I got to do, I miss
Yeah.
it.
The
It's been
itch.
too long. I've been out of the game too long. I got all these ideas. I don't care that I'm almost 40.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
We shall see. Well, thank you, man, so much for spending a little over an hour with me. I always have fun hanging out with you, bro. And, I'm excited for the next chapter of your life, whether it be music or cooking. I'm really mad at you for learning how to cook now that you're so far away from here, because I've seen your recipes and your cooking pictures, and it looks bomb. You're cooking all the stuff that I like. Like salmon and like all these,
That's
whatever,
my
man.
specialty, man. All right, so my mom has this little tiny group of female friends that she'll hang out with
Yeah.
during COVID.
Yeah,
And it's her knitting group.
yeah,
They literally sit and knit
yeah.
and get lit. And I was like, hey, if you've made sure they've all like socially distanced and did all that stuff, I would love to prepare like a big feast for everybody, as like, hey, you're doing great during this crazy time. Lisa's son is gonna cook for everybody. And I had this miso honey glazed sear salmon.
I saw that you made that.
I create my own sauce. It took me months to like figure it out.
Wow.
But it's pretty. I don't get too kind of confident with things, but I think it's pretty good. I think it's good.
Dude, throwback to us like doing like a food prep brand deal together, and we literally were like, is this how you chop things? Like, am I doing this right?
You hold the knife from both ends.
Well, I'm proud of you, man. You're like learning new skills, and you're just living life as you, and you're doing your thing.
And you are as well.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. And listen,
Everything's good.
everything's great. Everything's great.
Art is still as beautiful as ever, if not
Yes,
more beautiful.
even more beautiful. So hopefully when this pandemic kind of dies down and everything is safe, I would love to invite myself to your house and you can cook for me every single meal.
I would, dude. I'll just say, do you have any dietary restrictions?
No cheese.
No, that's easy.
Yeah.
Easy. 21, man. And
All
I
right.
can figure that part out. That's easy. There's so many alternatives that are just as good, if not better.
All right.
I would love to cook for you and Hart, or
Yes.
whatever. And when all this eases up, maybe I'll make my way back to the West Coast and say what's up for a week or two. We'll see.
Looking forward to it, man. Wow, that was a super, super fun conversation I had with Josh. It was really good catching up with him. It's funny, once we stopped recording, we continued talking for another hour or so. But I know you guys had stuff to do and I didn't want to make it a 3-hour podcast. But it's always great catching up with him. Josh, thank you so much for being a part of this episode. You can find him on Instagram at Joshua D Town and on YouTube as Joshua D TV. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to tag me on Instagram and feel free to DM me and let me know what other stuff you guys want me to talk about in the near future episodes. And with that said, I love you guys and I'll see you next time.